am Connor, known also as Confident in Crypto, who is like one of the largest. Can I call you influencer YouTuber? What's the
If
status?
you like, sure. Community members. What
Community
about like one of
member.
the largest community members? Yeah.
One of the largest community members in the Cosmos. So we have to. The largest is obviously Sito, who is organizer of the recent Cosmoverse, and you're up there. I think there is also some of the big Twitter accounts,
That's
but
right.
when it comes to the YouTube and making the video content, you are probably the second after Sito. I actually don't know that many accounts, maybe, but
I think I'm one of the few people who have more subscribers on YouTube than I do Twitter followers. Because normally it's the other way around, right? People have a lot more Twitter followers than they do YouTube subscribers.
yeah, I'm actually there with you. So
Really?
yeah, but I'm much smaller than you are. Also, people, let us know if you can hear us. So I passed 3,000 subscribers, which is much less than you have. You
That's
have over
amazing, though.
10K, right?
I think I'm on 17,000 now.
Wow, wow, going hard. Um, and on Twitter, I'm below 3,000, but actually, my
Mhm.
Twitter is growing faster
Right.
than my YouTube now. So I think it will change soon. But at some point, I was probably like at 300 Twitter followers and 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So it was like very very spread out. Um,
Sure. Well, the thing is, you're quite active on Twitter, so I imagine it will catch up over time. I'm not very active on Twitter, and if I'm not really a big fan of social media, believe it or not. Yet I'm doing a job that requires it full time.
oh wow! So you have the job.
Well, not a job, but yeah, I do it full time anyway. So I subsidize it all through my investing. So let's hope the bear market's not too long.
So your main job is YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do anything else. So I do all my crypto
Y-
stuff. I do my YouTube stuff. I might just find a few channel partners, right?
mhm.
As long as it aligns with my ethos and education, and then that will hopefully subsidize the channel and kind of make what I'm doing more sustainable, right?
Yeah, like if you don't mind, like because I'm pretty sure I've seen you like very early on when I was starting YouTube. You were much larger, right? You were the guy to cover what's new. Um how did you start it?
Lockdown happened, right? So do you remember the whole kind of pandemic? And I was working in telesales before. The thing is, I went to like grammar school and stuff, so I really should have done more of my life before I started YouTube. But I found myself in telesales, doing like business to customer sales on the
Mhm.
phone, outbound. So I was like that annoying person that would ring everyone up and try and sell them something that was a bad deal, pretty much. And that's the only reason I can present. I think that's why I can present on videos. But I'd already like invested in crypto, right? I think most of us have the same story. We like put some money in Bitcoin, or we got into some like crypto either in 2013 or 2017, or maybe this cycle. And what normally happens is you make a bit of money, then you lose it all, and then you're like, right, I need to learn. I need to learn about how it all works properly. So I did that. And then I just started making content on trading, actually, like charting. Like, so I'm quite good at technical analysis, but
Yeah.
I don't have the discipline for trading, right? And then I shifted towards fundamental analysis because it's so much more interesting. And then Cosmos finally after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me put my headphones so maybe I can hear you a little better, but I didn't want to if something switched, let me just check. Is it all okay now still?
I still find my end. So as long as you can
Oh,
hear me.
perfect. Yeah. So did you when was it when you joined? Because like you said, was it 2017, 2018 maybe?
What when I first joined crypto?
Yeah, when you first bought your crypto.
Yeah, I bought Bitcoin in I want to say July, August 2017. I think Bitcoin was about 2.5K in dollars at the
Yeah.
time. So yeah, about then.
It's goodbye. I could probably say what was I doing when Bitcoin was at 2.5k, because I was like hesitating till the very end, and I didn't buy Bitcoin, but I bought like this altcoins. I believe I bought like Ardor, Lisk, and Digibyte, I think, and I followed
Mhm.
the McAfee. Waited for his shields because he was not sure if you remember. He was dropping the altcoin of the day every day, and everyone was getting just dumped on.
Yeah, I remember
So
Skycoin. I think he had like a Skycoin tattoo. That's one thing I do remember.
maybe like he was doing quite many, and so when the pandemic started, you were already exposed to the Cosmos. Was it in 2020 when you started the channel, or 2021?
Yeah, I started the channel in 2020, and I wasn't actually exposed to Cosmos until it must have been about the end of 2020, right? When Atom was I think
Hmm.
$4 or so. I think
Yeah.
this was after Polkadot went live with their token, right? And they did the token split, and then after that, I picked up Cosmos because I was like, okay, Polkadot, Cosmos. Someone told me they're like the same, but one of them has bad marketing, right? We know that's not true. There's like so much more differences, but I was like, okay, bad marketing, fine. I'll pick up Cosmos. It's cheaper. It looks like a undervalued, and kind of went from there.
Yeah, I held Cosmos from like early 2020, but on the exchange, it was actually before I
Maybe.
think Dot token launched, and I knew they're like also similar. Then Dot launched, and it like went crazy, and Atom was like staying low, which was making me
Yeah.
upset. And my friends were holding like Polkadot, but then I still did not understand that much about Cosmos. So you started in trading, you said, right? So did you first made your first money in trading?
Well, I'd say I was investing. Trading's maybe not the best word, but I was doing technical analysis, right? So I was kind of like dabbling with trading as well. I was basically doing chart analysis on the channel. So doing things like looking at support resistance, looking at relative strength index, looking at trends, looking at candlestick formations, all of that kind of stuff. And then like kind of like broader market trend analysis and altcoin analysis. And I had like some good success with it, right? Either I was really successful with it or I was just very lucky because we entered the bull market. But it's just like it's interesting, and it's also a very popular kind of niche to go into. So I wanted to do something different, so I shifted to fundamentals basically.
Tell me, because I actually always say the technical analysis doesn't work. It's like just like it's like can you prove me wrong
Yeah, I
in
think
this
it does
one?
work. I'm not sure if I can prove it right here, right now. But I get the sentiment, right? I mean, technical analysis is only basically an image of people's emotions at any point in time in the market. So, what we kind of have is like, if you can imagine support levels and resistance levels, they're like levels that people are looking at for entries or exits. But support and resistance and technical analysis doesn't drive the market. It just represents the market and the actions of human beings. So, like, let's say something terrible happens in the world and we go into like a bear market, you use sort of support and resistance levels to look at where you might find a good entry. And in order for that entry to be good at like a support level, let's say a level where you might want to buy, you still need that kind of fundamental catalyst to see a reversal in price. So I think it just
Yeah.
helps with your timing and
Mhm.
your understanding of the direction of the market
Mhm.
rather than being like a holistic solution.
That's really good point, because like when I see on Twitter people drawing the lines, right? It's a little like a tarot. You draw the lines, but you said something different, right? It's like you look and analyze the certain period of time and trying to see like maybe humans' emotions. So it could be similar to a poker game, right? It's like, hey,
Mhm.
it seems someone was accumulating, people will FOMO soon. Like you can see that maybe people will FOMO or
Yeah.
break and sell on the chart, but it's never certain. But it's like little guessing game like with poker,
Yeah.
right? So that's probably better description of this, because if you just look at the chart and just draw the lines, it's without the context, right? It not
Yes.
necessarily give you anything. So because I rather pay attention to, like, as you said, the events that happen, right? So let's say we have the war happen, and it's like how people will react, right? Like you have the interest rates rising, but these are probably easier to read, but it's probably, equally fascinating. um did you tell us, did you make a lot of money in the bull market?
I made enough. I actually had a small amount of investment capital available. I quit my job right when I started YouTube, and I was like, okay, I've got about a year before I run out of money. I can invest a little bit, so we'll see what happens. So you imagine you start with maybe $1,000 to $4,000. There's only so
Hmm.
much you can make, especially when you've got to pay bills. So I made a lot percentage wise, but in terms of like the amount of money I have, pretty limited. So
Hmm.
yeah, definitely have some work to do in the coming cycles. Should we get
Yeah.
them?
So you were able to sell, like when you invested the money, were you able to tell yourself, hey, I did whatever, I'm not asking like 3x, 5x, or 10x, right? Were you able to say like, I'm actually selling now? Or you
Some of
were
them.
like, so you were actually taking profits, right?
I was taking profits. In hindsight, it's always you know what it's like. It's easy to say in hindsight what you should have done, right? And in
Mm-hmm.
hindsight, I should have taken more off the table. I kind of have this rule, like I just kind of like half what I have in, and a lot of altcoins, especially. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say it goes up like 5x. I'm like, right, I'll take out half the money, and it really saved me, right? You know, Luna, for example, took out half of my investment at $80. So even when it completely collapsed, I did sell the rest at about $7 because it wasn't staked, luckily. But when
Mm-hmm.
it collapsed, I was like, oh, I'm in profit anyway, so it's not so much of an
Mm-hmm.
issue for me there. But yeah, I think it's really, really good, man, just to kind of like take money off the table frequently,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just a little bit. Because the hardest thing I find is taking profit. It's not buying it; it's actually like taking profit when it's up. Because you always have that like feeling like, oh, what if it 10x is? You know, you look at like Axie Infinity or Solana in the last cycle that went up like 100, 200, 300x, and you're like, right, I'm up 20x on this, but what if it goes up 5x more? Then I'm going to kind of make 100x, and
100.
that's what kind of screws you,
Yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah. Which it did to me. Someone says the sound isn't great, but I hear you absolutely fine. So it's like, it's okay. I think maybe someone overstates, but like I hear you fine. So um yeah, like I had this problem because I think the greed has eaten me, because at some point, the stock was doing so well and crypto was doing so
Mm.
well that I was like, if it goes down 50%, I'm still good. But I didn't let this even thought of 50% going down. I felt so confident, right? So
Mhm.
this completely lost me, because the more you get, you don't want to believe it will drop, and you look at the tokens and you think, even the tokens are maybe like some shitty altcoin, and it's like has $20 million valuation, but it's nothing behind that, and you think that's so undervalued, right? And it's still, um did you get the Neta airdrop?
No, so I actually, like you were saying earlier, right, where you had your Atom on exchange. I actually had my Atom on exchange till
I'm Yeah, but that's
March.
for the Juno. That's for the Juno.
Yeah, so I didn't get Juno, so it meant I didn't get Nata either, basically.
Oh, right.
Because I bought Juno, I think at like $13 a bit later on,
Mhm.
and like I'm accumulating more now, basically. So yeah, I missed
Yeah.
I missed all the good drops, but yeah, Nata collapsed a lot in the end. It's kind of a bit inevitable, really, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I was so stupid. These money now would help me so much. Like I back then it was like whatever, but 6 months later it's like, what the hell have I thought?
Mhm.
So I also missed on Osmo, because I
Yep,
still kept on the exchange, which was Coinbase
sure.
mainly in my case. so I also missed on the Juno, but somehow like there was so much of the Juno publicity when it launched, and that I
Right.
sold some shitcoin that was like hurt me badly, but I still had like good money. So like I bought like I with everything I had left, I bought like Juno, right, at the
Mhm.
average of 8. So I got the Neta full one. I got 16.2, and I remember recording video right after airdrop. 20K
Yeah.
airdrop, and week later it was 50K, and I was, because I checked the Twitter and they were saying we are going to overtake Ion, but from perspective, it's just such a stupid, such a
Hey, man. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I mean, mate, honestly, I think that's a lesson we've all been through, right? Where there's like one big airdrop with a lot of money, we don't sell it, it collapses, and now for future airdrops, it can help you a lot. Did you sell any of your like stars airdrop, for example, or Evmos? No.
I'm even my wife like tease on me. Like, I did the great buys. I was like, so I'm just horrible at selling. So with stars, I'm happy because I accumulated more stars. Someone saying marble. I also sold marble at okay price, and Neta much like Neta probably I sold average of 300 or something.
So,
Um,
okay.
but about the airdrop stars, I did really like. So I actually did was pulling stars. So as the price was crashing, I accumulated much more stars.
Mm.
I also minted a lot of bad kits at the start, like 100 of them. So with the recent
Nice.
rise, I can be quite open. Like I think in 2 days I made like 40,000 stars, which is like not crazy, but when this price rises, I saw like 10 bad kits or something, right? So you now I'm not being stupid, but like because I need the money actually.
Yeah.
um but after Neta, it taught me with the raw airdrop. So I got the raw airdrop, 50% I sold, and the rest I did pull. And from now on, I'm like, I'm even if it's bear market, okay, I'm not being stupid anymore. So
Sure. No, I think it's a good way to go. I sell like half most of the time.
Mhm,
Stars could have just sold all of it, right, and bought it all back 2 weeks later, and
mhm,
had even more stars because it is a good project. You're never going to play it perfect. I think's the lesson for a lot of things, and also, when you sell and the price goes up, it feels bad, even if it then ends up lower in the long run. So definitely
mhm.
tough.
Yeah, Rarma. I actually had over 100 bad kits. I still have 100. Like even after I
It's
sold, I'm
crazy.
like one of the bad kit whales. But it's just luck. I don't want to. I love bad kits, so I'm just selling the ones I. I think you are not the biggest fan of bad kits, right?
I've got one. Maybe I should have got a few more. I'm a strange clan maxi, I'd
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Not
That's what I'm
literally,
saying.
but
Mhm.
comparatively.
Um, we will get to this, but I saw the question. Do you think if Neta has any future? Although I don't think you hold it, so not sure if you has any thoughts of that on that.
I don't have a strong opinion on it. Actually, like I know, like you've got a lot of thoughts around DAOs, and DAO tokens and stuff like that. So maybe you're better to answer this. But I think DAOs have a future, but I just don't know which DAOs. And if Nate is a DAO token, it's got a lot to prove.
Hmm. Yeah, I want to sell to everyone. Like, you need to understand that those are DAO tokens, and as they launch, this is nothing more than they just token on chain without any value behind that. So essentially, the value of this is probably closer to zero. And but of course, I'm thinking now clearly. But as is the bull market, we not always think clearly. It's very easy to say from the perspective. But I think you not only the Strange Clan, but you into uh, Andromaverse or
Yeah, I'm into Andromaverse and Stargaze Punks. I think they were doing better than Bad Kids initially, so that's how I ended up with them. Plus, they had like airdrops for the
Hmm.
NFT holders, and I was like, okay, I can keep the NFTs, which will probably have a good floor. I was thinking like Bad Kids and Stargaze Punks, like their floors are pretty much stable, if not going up.
Hmm.
But I was getting like airdrops for holding Androma Punks, Androma, was it Andromaverse, the eggs, and then the
Hmm.
Stargaze Punks. So
So
just
how
look
many
at
punks you had to have to get the airdrop of Androma punks?
I think you needed 3 punks in one wallet, or you needed 2 eggs. I want to say I ended up
Hmm.
with 3 Androma punks basically. Yeah, I've sold one
Wow.
already, but yeah. So
So.
NFTs are good. Everyone says like NFTs are a scam. Don't buy them; they'll go to zero. I mean, it's just like any crypto token, right? Which is like if you buy an absolute shit coin and you buy 100 of them, 99% of those are going to go towards zero in the long run. It's the same with
Mhm.
NFTs. Like there's the principles are like no different, but I think most people just don't take the time to understand the collections well enough
Mhm.
to be selective in their picks. So that's why NFTs get a bad rap.
Mhm. Yeah, totally agree. I was actually asking for the punks because I bought myself one.
Nice.
So it's we exchange, right? Like I'm one with the punk, but I'm like and the bad kid maxi.
Hmm.
But the thing I'm really jealous is the Androma punks. Um,
Sure.
and I'm considering to get myself one. But it's such a difficult moment financially, probably for all of us, that it's just. But the art, the artist of the punks, of the eggs, and the same with the punks. This is such a beautiful, clean pixel art, and I like the Androma punks more than the Stargaze punks. The art is just so beautiful, and I'm mainly like I'm looking at this, and that make me want to get them. um Wonder, like, what, tell me, what are your favorite NFTs
Uh,
on
yeah.
in
Go on, sorry.
Cosmos?
In
Let's
Cosmoverse,
narrow
yeah.
this to this. Yeah.
Um, I mean, it depends what you're basing it on, right? If you look at art, then it's probably going to be something on Stark. Actually, right? I'll give you like 3 different NFTs, right?
Hmm.
So like my favorite NFT collections actually Starty on Stargaze because they're like cute little cat pictures. Um, I'm a big fan of the artwork and the NFTs themselves. Yeah, don't know if you come across them yourself.
Yes. So before you get started, is amazing. And
That's so good.
so I went to the Discord, Stargaze Discord, and I was chatting to someone, and the artist, the Starty artist, is very responsive. And I only know the Starty because I tried to mint them, but I couldn't because the hype was so high, the initial one.
Mhm.
So I went on Stargaze and I found the honorary Starty,
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, this pixel art. This is let's chill for a moment, maybe, actually.
sure.
um and what I did, I bought 8 of secondary market. And
You got
I
more than me
asked,
then.
but the honorary, because they were like so sorry, honor starty, right? Because they were so cheap.
Yeah, I think they
But
were a one-to-one drop for holding the
Mhm.
original Starty collection.
Yeah, so it was like a free drop. Let me share the screen. But I just went to this and I was like, wow, this is such a pretty cute art, right? Like when it comes to the pixel art, this is really high level, and you can see the amount of effort that the artist has.
Yeah,
So I bought like 8, more of the, like, from the floor, right?
sure.
And also I uh, contacted the artist and went to her and like, hey, do you want to have a chat? So the day after, I actually had a private chat because she doesn't want to go live. Uh,
Hmm.
about NFTs with her privately. Like, I'm like this, hey, I want to chat to you. I really like your art and stuff like this. So Starty is very under the radar. Um, yeah, but yeah, I do really like it. Starty is good. So the very talented girl. What else to tell
So
us
yeah, so
more?
that's like my favorite from like, just being like a collectible. Like I don't look at it
Hmm.
financially, right? It's just like, oh, this is a cute little cat. I like the art. Like you say, the creator, she's really cool. I have to do a Twitter space with her and a few other people as well, but never materialized in the
Hmm.
end. But yeah, so we've got that kind of like the cute, cool collectible NFTs. We all have like that collection we just like the artwork for, right?
Hmm.
Then like my second one is probably it probably is like Stargaze Punks or Andromaverse or Androma
Hmm.
Punks. I think they're just a really good team. I managed to meet a couple of them at Cosmoverse. They're doing some really good stuff. They've got some really good artists. So I think it is one of the best, NFT teams on Stargaze, along with Bad Kid, right? At least the Bad Kid collection. But the third one, like my favorite collection is Strange Clan, and we don't really know what the artwork's like at the moment because the NFTs they're selling is just like a placeholder, right? It's just like this 2D character as a placeholder, so you get a character in the game. Um, but I hold 21 Strange Clan NFTs, I think. So you're a whale
How
in Bad Kids, and I'm a whale in
I might
yep.
get myself one. I remember, wasn't the floor like at 80?
Yeah, I mean the floor was like 90 at one point. I think it was like $1,500. Now it's like 300 for town ones.
And you hold 20.
I hold like 21. So I think I've got about 10 town ones and 11 town twos or something like that.
And
Um,
was it like mint or airdrop or gift?
I minted 5 town
Hmm.
ones at Genesis. I then bought another 3 town ones, I think. And then at town 2 mint, I minted like 7 or 8 of those. And then I bought the rest on open market.
Hmm.
Um, the thing is, like the town ones, like and the town twos, there's not much difference in terms of like what they give you. You get a bit more of town one, but the town twos are giving you like passage tokens, airdrops, whereas the snapshot for town one's already happened. I just think it's like such a no-brainer, and I could talk to you about this for like an hour if you really wanted. Like when you're getting like an NFT that's a playable character in a game, which may or may not finish development. Let's be honest, they've got so much work to
Hmm.
do to build out a game, but you're actually getting a playable character in a game, and on top of that, you're getting passage tokens for a chain, which the game is just one universe on. So like the chain's
Hmm.
going to launch with like 100 like spaces or something. There's like it's already live the chain, but they're gonna have like 100 Genesis worlds. And they've already got like
Hmm.
6 or 7 of them they're developing, like Chihuahuaverse, Decentral. They've got like a martial art rap festival. Like, I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer. You're getting a token airdrop, and you're getting to keep the character in the game if the game's
Yeah.
a success. So I can
But
chill
are,
with that
are
all day.
you are you regretting not selling some of them at 90 and buying that now? We probably do, but like, right?
Yeah,
You
I should have sold them all and bought them back. But the thing is, I
Yeah.
did. I think I sold like 4 town ones just after the snapshot,
Hmm.
and about 80 atoms. So I actually don't hold any regrets. What I do regret is buying back in a bit earlier than I needed to. Like I could have waited for
Yeah.
the price to drop to where it is now.
So these cards, can I like? It's not final characters. These cards will turn into game characters later.
Exactly. Yeah. So like the
Right.
artwork
I thought
changes slightly.
will be more like the card game, so you will not actually see character in the game. You know what I mean? That's really cool. Like, so that they're still ignorant, despite me having like a chat with the what's his name?
Is it Lex or Arrow?
With Lex. Lex. I actually met Lex very early. Beef like I have this influencer who is like big influencer, and he contacted him to show him what they are building. So it was this space where you sit and you have these eggs, the heads, and you talk to each other. Did you do this with Lex? So he
I
was
yes,
showing
yes, I did.
them
Yeah.
what they building. So I actually met Lex. It was like a year ago or something, before he like even knew me in Cosmos. Before I connected. But just because I had this friend, so I just like was just, oh, do you like, friend told me, oh, I have meeting with this guy and you like Cosmos. He builds on Cosmos. Do you want to join? Um, so I met him. He's such hardworking guy, right,
Mhm.
Lex? And they were very lucky because they were able to raise a good amount of money, and I think
Right.
they managed this well. But as you said, we don't know if it launches, and there's high chances it will not, because many things fall. But I think they do really work hard. So uh, we'll see. But I wish them best. Like, I think the trailers they put out, they look really amazing, right?
Yeah, I think as well. The game's like one element of what they're building, which is kind of the point, right? Which is, it might take a long time to launch the game. Maybe it won't be successful. Maybe they haven't got enough funding. But
Mm-hmm.
like you said, they are really hardworking as well. I do agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But like with the funding, it's like fine. The game's like one thing that could work or could not. But they've
Mm-hmm.
got like a chain which is kind of focused specifically on building like virtual spaces or metaverses for different like teams or projects, or
Mm-hmm.
allowing projects to use like or leverage their tools. So even if the game's not a huge success, they have other avenues of revenue. And I just think that really mitigates the risk of the game being a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And buying like one of the game's NFTs, you also get the token for the passage ecosystem, which is kind of like separate from the game in the sense that it's kind of broader. So I really
Mm-hmm.
like that.
So did you get the tokens airdrop, passage airdrop, because of this, or?
Yeah, I will do, but they're not out yet. So they've got the mainnet launched.
Oh, okay.
I think they have to close some more private funding rounds before they can launch. That they haven't really like shared all the details, but essentially like there's some legal things they have to do before they can publicly launch the token.
Yeah.
And then after the public launch, they can do the drop. But yeah, you get 2,850 passage tokens for a Town 2 NFT. I think the snapshot hasn't been done yet.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they didn't even sell out in the collection mint, so there's still like
Right.
66% of them to mint. Honestly, man, like I might be totally wrong, but I think it's just like a no-brainer. If you're paying like three
How much
hundred
is the
dollars,
mint?
it's quite expensive now because Atom's gone up. I think it was like 44 Atom. So now it's like $500 nearly, but it was $300
Oh,
originally.
yeah.
But the way I looked at it, right, and this is how I've always looked at Strange Clan, it's like, okay, $300 to mint this like NFT, and I
Mm-hmm.
get 2,850 passage tokens. So then you just divide $300 by 2,850, you get the price per passage token, and you also keep the NFT. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of see it as a
Yeah.
no-brainer, especially with staking rewards as well to kind of like sell or compound.
How many characters there was?
10,000 total. 5,000 Town
Oh,
1, 5,000 Town 2.
so how much they raised from the sales? It's like
I think it's about
is it
$300
3
times
million, right? So
5,000.
around,
Yeah.
oh, 5,000, but like I thought 10, not 10,000, 300 times 10 times 10,000, right? So that would be like 3 million.
Well, they haven't sold all of the Town 2s yet, but yeah,
Right.
theoretically, 3 million if they sell all of them.
Yeah. We need to address one thing, because people in the comments, because we know, so Strange Clan, Connor, Liam number one, that's number one for Liam. Then we have all the punks, right? And
Mhm.
Starty. That's like top three. Um, but people ask about raccoons. What do you think about raccoons?
I don't know
Are
much
you
about
fan
them.
of?
I don't know much Rama. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Rarma. Like, you need to try harder. But people also ask me. So, like, I often like, seems we don't get along with raccoons. I like only get recently along with Rarma. Um, but there is this other guy who keep coming at me and tagging me in the comments. I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, um
Yeah.
but I would because people maybe want the problem with raccoons. Sorry, Liam, if you don't mind.
Sure.
There is not much appeal in raccoons for me. This is AI art. I don't really like the art. I got three in the airdrop, which I sold, and people tease on me that I sold before below floor. Hard cash, guys. I got the airdrop. What you want from me? Um, so I didn't like the art. I hope other people who like it is good. But the problem is like it's just not good gambling platform for me. Like I don't know how these guys can bring value, and essentially the only people who seem to play is raccoons holders, which you essentially waste the money then distribute it back to raccoons. There's no scaling, and you can't really scale having the platform that is slow. And so that's for the people who are asking what I think, but I don't want to take away from Liam's time, right? But there's many great guys like Rarma. It's the um apart from the NFTs. Let's go to the tokens. It's bear market. Uh, we all very very poor now. Um,
Mhm.
we should actually did the episodes that you did with Sito. I remember you were judging the chains. Remember?
Yeah,
I think it's actually like the appeal to the people, because
I agree.
that's the easy presentation. Like, hey, what's good token? Um, but didn't you put like Terra to the S tier?
We put Terra to the S tier for sure. What is the thing? It's like a bit of fun as well. So don't take it as financial advice.
Yeah, but like back then, who like most of the people would put Terra to S tier, right?
Oh,
Like,
for
if
sure.
I mean, even we see the obvious signs, but hey, it's keep going up for like past 6 months. Where do you put this? Like,
Yeah.
if you would even put it into tier A, people like the
They're gonna freak
lunatics would
out.
come at you, right? Like,
I mean, this is
for
what happened, right? Like Juno, right? Juno, we put I think an S, but I think it's like an A tier. Like I still do.
hmm
Like I think Juno's awesome. I think the community is awesome. Love like the work around governance, but it just has so much to prove. So like we put it in
hmm
S tier so we didn't get attacked. But I was very like adamant that it was like a high A tier at best because it still has like only a few applications and luckily, you have an amazing team like Dimmy, Jake, everyone, but they just got a lot of
hmm
work to do still. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough to rank things when the community has such a say. I guess the community is always right though. That's kind of the philosophy I have. They're always right till
and
they're not.
yeah. And you're too nice of a guy to judge, like it's the like no, I don't want to do bad with the community, but people want the atom talk. Did you read the first, like, how did you enjoy Cosmoverse, man? Like, how was it?
Oh, it's amazing, man. How come you couldn't come, by the way?
You know, I can't afford it. That's not because no, like, but seriously,
Mm.
now I'm in Hong Kong, right? So flight for me would be from Hong Kong to US, and then probably from US to Colombia. It would be quite long, probably like in the
Yeah.
range of 24 hours or something like this, because just to fly to US, it's 16 hours flight from here.
Hmm.
To it's like 14 hours to LA, and it's just too much for me, and for like my role in the ecosystem, I thought it's probably not worth. I would be like worn down, and it would be also quite pricey for me to do this. So it's just like it's too much and it's too far, so I decided to not do, despite me wanting to do it, if it would be in like probably more convenient space. How was the flight from UK? How long it takes? I think UK has this benefits of location a little bit,
It's not
right?
that much better, to be honest. We had to
Oh.
fly to Madrid. It was basically
Mhm.
either go to Madrid, then to Medellin, or go to Miami, I think it was, and then from Miami to Bogota, Medellin. So I think it was 16 hours of travel, 24 hours from leaving my place to arriving at the
Yeah,
hotel. So it's about the same kind of problem. I think all of Europe had the same issue, which is it's like a long way to get to
yeah,
South America.
yeah. I mean, I'm not now in Hong Kong. I'm not sure if you know.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay,
Yeah,
because
so
I
that's
thought you
why
were
I
in
said it
Europe.
would be. That's why I said it would be longer. I forgot to mention. I moved out a month ago,
Oh,
so maybe if it would be in Europe also, because from Hong Kong to LA is like 14, to New York is like 16 or 17 hours. So it's
sure.
and then I would
A
have this
long
transit.
time.
So it would be like I think the quite similar route to Jacob, though like Hong Kong has international like big airports, so it's back to US, and Jacob had to go Japan, and then so it just wasn't really worth it, because my wife is from Hong Kong. I used to live here, then because of COVID I ended up in Poland, and now like
Mhm.
as they ease restrictions I was able to come back. So like now finally I can get visa and
How are
all
you
the stuff,
finding it?
but it used to be better. When I was living here pre-COVID for 3 years, it was this amazing place, for the business, taxes, great people. You have like great sightseeing, access to the coast. And now I come back, and I had to do quarantine. And when I was in the room, they come with this big vacuum above them and keep testing you. 5 PCR tests in the first 10 days, and like outside on the street is like masks are still mandatory, and the city lost the like vibrancy. It lost the a lot of people left. So we are thinking maybe we move back to Europe.
Sure.
But have you ever been here?
No, I haven't. So yeah, that's why I was asking. To be honest, I've never been.
Yeah, yeah, like a lot of quite few. I have quite few British people. Where exactly you based in UK?
So I'm like southwest. So London. Everyone kind of knows London. It's like southwest UK. If you just go like directly down from London, maybe like
Hmm.
slightly towards the east, that's where I am. It's like on the coast. And it's called Bournemouth. So you can Google it.
So it's like nice people. Nice people. I actually lived in
Close enough.
UK for close to 2 years in
Oh, you live
Newcastle.
there?
In Newcastle, I
Oh,
lived.
in
That's where
Newcastle.
I actually met my wife. She was
Oh,
studying in
cool.
Newcastle University. So yeah, like good times. I was working in the bar, starting like picking up glasses from the tables. So um yeah, I hope the next Cosmoverse will be like in more convenient place. I'm not saying it's
Mhm.
well, it's bad location. I'm not saying it's dangerous or anything. Just inconvenient. It's right. So where
It's a
would
long
you
way to
personally?
travel.
Yeah. And as someone said, like I'm just 16 hours in the plane, like just to get to US, and then again, like, it's too much for me. I hate long travels. Actually, where
I
would you
am.
like to have?
I
Mhm.
took like a gaming laptop. So basically, I just sat in the plane for 9 hours and I just played like a GameCube emulated, an
Mhm.
emulated GameCube. So I just played like the old classics for 9 hours straight and then crashed out when I got
Mhm.
there. But honestly, the conference was amazing. Like it's so good just to meet like everyone face to face. Like I'm a face to face person, right? Like I enjoy like our talks like this, even though it's not face to face. It's just so good to have a video call. Like
Mhm.
I wouldn't say lazy, but I'm not a big typer. I'm not a big social media person, and I'm not that like engaged with even my own community. I feel like I should do even more with my own community, right? I'm just not the type of person, but at the conference, like speaking to like everyday cosmonauts, like if they come up to me like, you're Liam from Compton and Crypto, I'll shake their hand and I'll ask them how they're finding the conference. Like I'll have a chat with them, talking to the teams. Like
Mhm.
that's the beauty of the conferences. Like the speeches are good, the booths are good as well, of course. But it's just the actual community vibe and talking to people that I think you can't replace. So yeah,
Hmm.
hopefully it's closer for you to come next year, Don, because yeah, I think you missed out a bit not coming.
I feel like also with the contacts, I think this is really really important for people like us to make contacts, and because I realized that I was making content for fun in the bull market, but I would like to get more personally engaged with some people, for just also for my own benefits, right? It can benefit us. But where would you like to have the next one? Europe, US,
Um,
Asia?
Bournemouth would be good in the UK.
Sorry,
I said
UK.
Bournemouth
Yeah,
would be good. Only because I live
yeah,
here, so it'd be so much easier to
yeah,
get to.
yeah.
Europe would be
I think
nice.
you.
But yeah.
Yeah, UK would be next time. I'm not missing. Whatever it will be, I will fly.
Even if you have to get
Um.
like a project to maybe help with your travel, you could, maybe you could say to
Mhm,
like Juno or like someone from Juno, like, hey, like, do you want me to represent Juno for you at the conference? If you can just
mhm.
fly me out, then I'll do all the work, like, chatting with people and stuff. So
That's not a bad idea. Have you done this, or you funded it from your own pocket?
no, I got paid to go to Cosmoverse, luckily, just for the
Oh,
flight
nice.
and the hotel. I'm sure they won't mind saying, actually. I was like, the Cosmoverse team actually paid for me. And
Yeah.
like, I just said, look, hey, I'll help out with the conference. If you can help me get, to the conference. So I traveled with my brother, AJ, his name is. He
Mhm,
works at like IBM, but he works like internally, like managing like how everything goes. So I said, like, hey, like, why don't me and my brother help? Like, he's really good at logistics, so he can help organize like the
mhm,
workshops, which is what he did. And I was like, hey, I'll just do like some interviews for you guys. So that's why, when I got there, I did 13 interviews. Yuri
yeah. I
was
was
nice
like,
enough to,
wow.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. The trick is just like don't do anything else. I watched like no speeches because I just needed to relax
Mhm,
between each interview. But yeah,
mhm.
if you do something like that next year, maybe like a team or someone can help you get there if you can't afford it.
The plan is next year to be wealthy, so I don't have to do interviews and I can relax on the Cosmoverse, because I can imagine it was quite like stressful to keep doing interviews, and like maybe missing on a few other things. um there's New York City would be so nice. I would love that in New York City. I love the big cities, kind of like London and New York. I
Mhm.
think it would be quite cool. It seems people aim for like some most laid back locations, but I think it would be really cool to do this like big vibrant city. People were urging Atom 2.0. Okay, like let's get to it because people get very impatient. Did you read white paper?
I was gonna say I've not fully read the white paper. So I like got back on Thursday from Cosmoverse, and I've had like 13 interviews to basically I have to rewatch it to make sure there's no mess ups and edit it and then publish it. So I'm a bit behind, but I get the gist of it. So let's talk about
No,
it.
I'm laughing because I also I also did not read this. I just like skimmed through, like
Mhm.
it's 25 pages or something. It's
Yeah.
like and the white papers are written in very academic words. So I'm usually like
Yeah.
I will go through, a few points, and then I go on Twitter and see what the people complain about, and that's how you learn. So I'm pretty much know the
Shameless.
concerns, about what the concerns are, and this one I'm addressing, and um so what are the main points if you had chance to see them, hear from the people, and is there something you liked, something you didn't like about Atom 2.0?
In response to Rama, firstly, like about being shameless, like I think the first point is like there's no rush. Like one of the biggest things is like this all has to be talked about and go through governance. So I don't think there's a rush to read it, and I don't think there's a rush to like come to any final decisions on like the direction things will go in. I think the general gist from what I've seen is we're looking to reduce inflation on the Atom chain, so really kind of revamp the tokenomics.
Hmm.
We're looking to kind of reduce staking rewards and build up a treasury. Seems to be kind of like one of the core ideas. And I think like the general paper overall is just about how Atom's like this like economic center of Cosmos, like a reserve asset. They talk about MEV. They talk about investing in other chains. And then I think they also mentioned like a little bit about liquid staking and interchain security as well, to kind of like Atoms to expand Atoms like economic outreach to the broader
Hmm.
ecosystem. That's like a high level understanding of what they're talking about.
Yeah, tokenomics is the main subject there. Like I think because people like that's what drives people attention. So even like probably when we make content, let's focus on the token. So Rarma, I saw you were critical. Like you can also like address here, so we can maybe like chat about this. Wow, look at this heavy question. What do you think about Orwell's 1984 crypto and the current? Wow. I'm just crypto YouTuber. Like but um I was actually against the slashing inflation, in the um because in such an early stage of the Rarma, like if you want to join, or maybe like I give the time with Liam, it's our first time, so let's be I felt that considering how small the cosmos is, right? The slashing the inflation is not the greatest idea. Like if we expect a lot of people coming to the ecosystem, those additional minted atoms that people could dump on the market would allow those new ones to come and kind of participate, right? But
Mm.
if you kind of squeeze the price, like in the case of Ethereum right now, that you burn the tokens, and whether you get this not non-increasing or very little increase in the supply or going, you invite the Ponzinomics, and you kind of disincentivize people from
Mhm.
using the token, and even you disincentivize trading, you disincentivize NFT buying, you disincentivize like even building applications, because the best use cases then become let's take for 9% APR or whatever.
Mhm.
That's why I was kind of against slashing this atom inflation. Don't go to the root of Ethereum, it's not time, let's think of it.
Yeah.
um so I'm not like the biggest fan of what happened, but I think the idea is good, because also with this increasing supply, I looked at the Atom as the layer for trading. So Atom as the kind of currency for activity within the hub. But around the same time as they show us the new tokenomics, they also announced that Circle is coming to Cosmos, right? So
Yeah.
now it kind of makes sense. We can allow to do it with Cosmos. We can lower the inflation and make it more of the secure like token. The trading layer will be in stablecoin. We will have USDC, and Zaki is strongly backing IST by Agoric. And then all other tokens that will be basket of tokens secured by the ICS. So I think maybe it will work. Maybe I'm at wrong here, right? So it may make sense maybe here. Let's see.
There's a lot to like digest, I think.
Mhm.
You spoke about like a ton of different things. First of all, like the burn, kind of like the burn functionality on Ethereum, I agree. It just incentivizes holding. It raises the
Mhm.
price per GUI, so it raises
Mhm.
gas fees. I think the problem with like reducing supply and making like something scarce
Mhm.
is that you kind of have this trade-off between the users who want cheap transactions
Mhm.
or cheap like basically they want to be able to buy block space for a cheap price.
Mhm.
And then this other side of things, which is the holders who want a high cost per token. And the two of those actually are like conflicts of interest.
Mhm.
I'm not big on burning. I think I've said it before. I think it's a gimmick. I think it's a narrative gimmick. And it's not necessary. But I do like the reduction to inflation because I think from a narrative perspective, like for me and for you, like and for a lot of people, like inflation's not an issue. We can kind of like
Mhm.
stake. we get the new Atom tokens, we can compound it, and all that
Mhm.
happens is you basically get like what's equivalent to like a continuous stock split, right? Where it's like
Mhm.
the Atom just divides by like a small percentage each year. So it kind of
Mhm.
becomes like instead of one Atom, you have 1.2 the next year if it's 20% inflation. Um,
Mhm.
and that's not a problem. I think the only people that lose out are holders and traders, so people who aren't staking. But if you have 100% of the supply staked through liquid staking, then inflation just isn't relevant, because the only time
Mhm.
inflation is a problem is if the inflationary rewards are only going to a small portion of the population, which
Mhm.
is why inflation is such a problem globally, right? Imagine like the government like prints like trillions of dollars, but they split it between everyone who's got money already, proportionate to how much money they hold. You're never diluted, which is
Mhm.
basically how inflation works on proof of stake chains if 100% of the supply is staked. So yeah, I don't see it as a problem, but from like an investor perspective, from like people buying into Atom, like infinite supply is kind of a problem. People don't
Mhm.
understand these like financial concepts. They kind of want to know probably like how much Atom's around, how much there will always be. And you can use, this is just my personal opinion anyway, all of this, but you can kind of just use the interchain security staking rewards to subsidize
Mhm.
um, the lack of inflation. So you said,
Yeah.
Don, that you need more tokens coming in for people who want to get into Atom and trade.
Mhm.
Well, I think those other tokens can be non-Atom tokens, which are within the
Mhm.
Atom economy still. What are
So,
your thoughts?
yeah, like with the ICS, I think it could replace, and I hope those will not become. It will not become as the negative for those chains, right? But like the point you said about like the government's printing, I also like don't know why we keep calling the inflation of the crypto inflation instead of the money supply, as like governments essentially let's let's allow for increased money supply. That's below, and as the result, of course, you can get inflation. But in crypto we don't say we increasing the supply of the tokens, but we probably should use this word than inflation, because the inflation brings all of these negative connotations, right? Like
Yeah.
of the price increases. So yeah, good points. um I kind of like unlimited, but like as you said, like people do like to have capped supply. We still will not have capped supply, not if you saw, but it will be increasing very very slowly.
Slowly.
um
Yeah.
what Rarma said, short version, my concerns are risk of governance manipulation, having a constitution, balance between treasury and stakers return with inflation. And then there's like most recently the management of the funds via multisig. um yeah, like so those could be concerns, but there was the concerns about dilution. Not sure if you looked into this. So in the first year of the change in atom tokenomics, there should be like 80 million atoms, new atoms minted via increased supply, let's say this. So that would be like 25%, just below that, right?
Hmm.
And most of this will go to the treasury. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's pretty cool idea, like, because within 3 years we will have like maybe nearly 1 billion, maybe 500 million in the treasury to fund, of course at the cost of like increasing the supply by this like 25 in percent. But then when you look at the stock market and the companies, this is common practice by the companies. Hey, let's issue 10% more shares and acquire this company by our shares, right?
Yeah.
And people think they've been diluted. Yes, but no. This is like yes, but no. That's actually, so I kind of like against that, like you not being diluted. But I'm sure there is like other concerns that the people were even thinking, because this money go to treasury, right? And the people like, hey, is the ICS gonna control these funds? It's like no,
Hmm.
like not really. But I know there is a questions, but I think like it's cool way to fund the development.
I think
um
Carver's done that similarly, right? Which is maybe where the concerns come from, which is where like
mhm,
Carver's basically diluted their supply by 100%. Um, and they're using those funds to bring on board Sushi Swap, to bring on
Hmm.
board. Was it Aave? I think there was like another big application that came on board. But that
Hmm.
dilution, I don't think stakers like it, and I don't think they actually have a say in how the funds are used. That's kind of the
Hmm.
difference. But we have seen that sort of thing done before. Carver's a good example if you want to kind of look into it, like anyone watching. Um, I have some thoughts on that, Don, as well. Like this sort of treasury debate versus
Hmm.
inflation going to stakers. I think what you said about companies is correct. Like companies with a lot of capital in reserve, like a war chest, so to speak, they do very well. I mean,
Hmm.
we always talk about. I say we. I think most people are of the belief that a lot of companies should go bust, but the government bail them out. And the reason they
Hmm.
should go bust is they didn't keep any reserve capital they could use, like in times of like problems, or like you say, when you want to make an acquisition or something similar.
Hmm.
So I think it is good for Atom to have, or the Cosmos Hub to have, like this reserve of capital for like really challenging periods, but also if they want to make acquisitions and such. I think the
Hmm.
question is like, should this come from inflation? Should this come from newly produced atom supply, or can it be funded via other like elements like revenue coming in from interchain security, or
Hmm.
from investing into like other IBC assets if they can kind of get a pool of assets in return for that, or a pool of capital. This is how I look at it. Like, if you're going to sort of build a treasury, and you're going to basically build this treasury by taking like ICS rewards and selling them into Atom, that's bad for the ICS chains.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, I think stakers should be the ones who say, hey, we can take a hit, we can get diluted a little bit, because actually we want to give the best deal to like other stakeholders. So people like consumer chains, people like chains that we're investing in is like a IBC style fund, which is part of the Atom 2.0 white paper.
Hmm.
I think it's like our responsibility as stakers, as shareholders, to think, right, it's not just about taking like my dividend in Atom. It's not just about taking my staking rewards. It's actually about building out this like
Hmm.
autonomous machine that can kind of like, yeah, be successful in the long run. And that's why what you said there about it not being dilution, I kind of agree with. I think it's like just
Hmm.
investing into the future. But whether or not the details are correct, that's something I don't know. These are just my initial thoughts on like a philosophical level.
Because as a chain, we can have a lot of money, right? Kava is doing some extreme version of that. Kava is going for over a year already with like 100% inflation, with like 80% tax on it. And
Mm-hmm.
it had actually not, comparing to other tokens, it didn't really have the effect on the price of the token. But they using this and they built up this massive like treasury token, and they actually often like vote with this token. I think they voted
Yeah.
like recent. I can't confirm if this was other tokens, but there was some drama that they actually overthrown the voting for like
It's the
Evmos.
Evmos proposal. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if this was this
Okay.
token, but like yeah, Kava does extreme version, which let's make sure that's doesn't come even close to what Kava is doing, right? Um, but as you said, there's few methods of doing this, right? So we can do it via inflation, but we could actually do this like, hey, can we do the Cosmos upgrade where we mint like 100 million tokens and put them in treasury? It could be possible. I
Mhm.
just think people would not like the rhetoric. So they were like, we have to do it via inflation, right?
Yeah,
Like we
sure.
have to show the people it's quite nice way. But I think because look at the Juno, right? Like from the like maybe you're not fan or even Osmosis. Osmosis maybe is in the better situation. But if Juno has the hard cap, if in 12 years the community pool dries out, and if the developer pool dries out, how the Juno is gonna fund the development, right?
Yeah, need revenue basically.
Yeah, so I'm assuming there will be prop like mint 10 million Juno to the community pool or something like this. Though they will have to come with this type of solutions, And probably Solana and other chains who sell to VCs, they will be doing the same, like just issuing new tokens at the cost of like maybe small dilution, but um, gaining funding.
Mhm.
Some crazy anti-Semitic comments in I but as long as they're not
I think you can use MEV as well to build a treasury, right? If they're talking about like
Mhm,
MEV opportunities across chains, and if it's going to monetize to Atom, why not build up a
mhm,
treasury from that? I mean, I'm guessing that Atom inflation is just the most effective way to build a treasury quickly,
mhm.
which is probably why
Yeah,
that's what Zaki and other community members are pushing for.
I think so too. Could you tell us if you are, or people, if you have also any questions to Liam? Could you give me five of your favorite chains? Don't have to be Cosmos, but can be Cosmos. That you could list from 1 to 5.
It's a tough one. I'd say Cosmos Hub is the first
Hmm.
chain, right? I
Hmm.
think it's just the lowest risk Cosmos asset, and it's just got a special place at the center of the ecosystem, at least from a perspective of like people on a psychological level. It still has a lot to prove, but I think it's got a great like people working on it. So definitely Atom number one.
Hmm.
Number two is like tricky, right? I mean, we've got Juno. I really like layer one chains. You know, I think the app chain thesis is great, but I just still
Hmm.
really like kind of like ecosystem chains. It's like layer ones. It's a tough one, Don. I mean, let's just go with five. It doesn't have to be ordered. You got like Cosmos
Hmm.
Hub.
Yeah.
I'd say like Juno's up there definitely. Evmos is like up there, but like they need applications. I think
Hmm.
if they don't get applications soon, like in my personal opinion, they're just overvalued. The token price needs to go below $1. But Evmos has a lot of potential. So yeah, so we've got Juno, Evmos, Cosmos Hub. I'd say like Stargaze, right? But it's very application specific at the moment, which
Hmm.
is like a marketplace. But Stargaze has got like one of the best communities on Cosmos. I'm just going to bring up map of zones to make sure I don't miss anyone. Don't want the community on my case.
But let's go to Evmos. That's actually very cool what you said, because like that's so against what I hear on Twitter. You said like, hey, they need applications or they need to go below. Were you selling part of your Evmos, if you don't mind
I've
sharing?
I've been selling all of it since about a month or two ago. So I've been compounding because why not? I think I started with 800 tokens, so not that many, but still a lot more than most people.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I've compounded till I had like 2,500,
Hmm.
and I've just been selling since basically.
Right.
I took a like eight. I took 800 tokens off pretty quick because it's like that airdrop rule where you sell half. So
Hmm.
like I compounded, then sold 800 tokens, and I've been selling since, man. I mean, Evmos is really cool. It has like a ton of problems all the time, which is fine because it's a new chain. Um, but it just needs applications on there. You know, it was meant to have Aave coming onto it. I'm pretty sure. There was like a whole announcement around that, and they haven't had any applications deploying it. And I think, why is that? Is it because they're still testing stuff? Is it because they're not funding it? Because they've got a massive ecosystem fund now that they're kind of like committing.
It,
And it's like, is it the next adder, which is like it just never
mhm.
gets anything on it, but people love it anyway, or is it just
Yes.
gonna fall off and just not get any traction?
Because
That's
someone
important.
like shilling in the comments Cardano, I don't know if it's a joke, but like but
Yeah.
this is exact point about Evmos. It's cool we have EVM chain, it's cool, it's fast, there is no application, it doesn't matter, it has the like people using this, but people within Evmos ecosystem, they don't know the EVM ecosystem at all, which is also my issue. They
Mhm.
seem like completely excluded. So you said about Aave, and there was the validator group, and I was like, hey guys, why I cannot connect Evmos to Aave? Right? Validator, like validators on Evmos. And they're like, what do you mean? What you talk about? they never you like I'm like, where do I get help? Like like this is EVM chain. What do you mean? You validate the EVM chain. Like this is the major app of the EVM chains, right? I was like, no, it's people might say it's undervalued. Look, that's you need that app. Like so
Mhm.
this is the other issue that you said. Maybe so yeah, I'm selling now the rewards. The Stargaze you mentioned. So like you spoke to Shane, right? You spoke to Shane.
Yeah, Shane's awesome guy. I spoke to him
Such a
actually
nice,
at Cosmoverse. Yeah.
nice. Yeah, like such a great guy. So we have like Cosmos One. There's like Juno, right? Evmos, uh, Stargaze. What else?
I like Passage. Obviously, they've got a lot to still build out,
Yeah.
so it's too early. I like
Mm-hmm.
Agoric, but again, they've got a lot to prove. I think they could have done
Mm-hmm.
a better community launch, but that's for their decision. You know, that's their decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like Ethereum. Don't get me wrong. I actually still hold like I think Atom's only just got like larger in my portfolio than Ethereum. Um, I still like Bitcoin just because it's like a safe kind of investment. Maybe it'll go to zero, but it's the lowest risk crypto investment.
Do you hold any NFTs on Ethereum?
No, no, I don't. I have bought NFTs and sold them for a profit on Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
Super Farm was like this like NFT project from Elio Trades, and I just like
Mm-hmm.
bought it,
Oh
sold it
yeah,
for
I know. I
yeah
know.
10x. Um, I
Um.
think I did the same with Portals on Solana as well, which is like a
Mm-hmm.
cool NFT project. Just kind of bought
Mm-hmm.
it, sold it quickly. Um,
Yeah.
I spoke to Danku actually about NFTs. He's like the biggest NFT bear. Like that's what he said. That was his own words.
Oh wow.
He likes NFTs like and their utility and stuff, but what he doesn't like is these like PFP collections where it's like, hey, we've got 5,000 PFPs. That's like
Mm-hmm.
capping like the size of the community, and it's like gated. It only benefits
Mm-hmm.
like 10,000 people. He thinks that like NFT should have an unlimited supply, similar to like tokens, right? Where it's like you just mint more as you need a bigger community over time. But doing like a strict 5,000 like or 10,000 PFP like thing is not the right way to go.
That's a very good point because like I've been thinking for so long how I could do my NFTs, but your community it has to your NFT should grow with the community, and
Exactly.
it should function maybe as the company collective where the people also are encouraged. So you it's like building social networks via NFTs, right? That's probably like the
Mhm.
end game. Have you ever heard of Miladies? I want to share. I got myself a Milady yesterday.
You actually got one. Okay. I mean, I saw there was a lot of hype about them at one point, but I don't know much about them.
This is the Milady. Um,
Oh, nice.
so I got
Okay.
them, but you know there was some controversy about them. I'm not, and this was basically why I got them. You know there was some accusations about the founders and the staff about you can look it up, but it doesn't. But I think it's this controversy sometimes help it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because you
That's what's
never
good about
know.
BAYC, right? What at Yacht Club is they have the
Yeah.
controversy, and it just
Mm-hmm.
fuels the narrative in the media spotlight. So, and unless something's provable, it's just free marketing.
Mm-hmm. Like I was thinking, hey, the controversy about apes is not necessarily bad thing because
I think it's good for
if
them.
this is the true, this is simply with all the bad symbolic. This symbolic is not necessarily the bad in itself, but rather the trolling culture of the 4chan in and part of internet culture. So if this is the true, it makes board apes even better as the peer piece of like performative art or something like this, right? This is the internet performance. So like I like this
Mhm.
weird stories to NFTs
Yeah.
that are a little bit shady. But with the Milady, right? Like already like you get the Milady and plenty of Milady anons start liking your post. This is like very weird and culty culty,
Nice.
group, but
It sounds like he's got a
it's
good chance of doing well.
yeah, we'll see. Like it's like the winter. Like I didn't bought this expecting a profit, but rather like it's funny. I want to see what it happens with this, and maybe in 2 or 3 years, suddenly people will get crazy about this as they got about punks, right? And then people were asking, what about the secret? Any thoughts on secret? You using secret?
I just don't think privacy is actually cared about enough by other people, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think there's like a group of people who care about privacy, and secret's probably great for them. But for me and like my like time, I generally spend it on other types of chains. My brother's
Mm-hmm.
really into privacy, right? So there's like definitely people who secret is perfect for, but like from
Mm-hmm.
my perspective, like people will always choose convenience over privacy, and until that changes, I tend to focus my time and my investments on other things instead of privacy. I will
I
say before you like respond, I will say like privacy is very good for corporations and businesses,
Mhm.
and it's also very good for on-chain order book trading. So I do think there's like potential there if Secret can solve some of those pain points for those people.
Mhm. I actually agree with you. I think convenience over privacy, as you say in UK. Because like using this chain is just like less convenient, and for people like me, I'm public. You what do you expect? Like I'm not gonna start using like secret and become the privacy. Um People keep asking, yeah, I will ask you about Comdex in a moment, okay? Like what, like just they can't stop. Like what do you think where we go with crypto? Okay, you were a little focused on the trading and stuff. Like you in UK, you have some mess there as well. What do you think? Are we gonna go to like zero, and me and you gonna really find the jobs, or we have chance trying and making a place for ourselves? Like how you see the rest of this year and maybe next year, if you or even further.
It's so hard to say, right? Everyone's in like this kind of like situation now where everyone's saying like we're all doomed and the economy is going to zero.
Mm-hmm.
There's like this small part of me that thinks like we're about to get a bounce higher, but I don't know. The reason I think that is like we've just had this like really long bearish period.
Mm-hmm.
We have like probably a really bad recession. Like we already have it here. I think it's here now. So probably just get like some like relief rally and then maybe like a big collapse like that. If I had to pick like any scenario, that's what I think will happen. But in all honesty, Don, like I don't really trade and invest. I invest, but I don't trade actively anymore. So I don't pay attention
Mm-hmm.
to these like macro trends. I think it's a good chance like we'll have something different to a 4-year cycle because of the macro environment.
Mm-hmm.
There might be 1 or 2 years more of pain, or maybe we're just gonna follow the macro cycle of 4-year cycles after all. We don't know. No one knows. The macro economy is pretty messed up, and I'm just seeing how it goes. Like I have no answer to that question.
Yeah, the more I look, the less I know. That's the with the
Exactly.
macro. Like, when we were like very high with this stock, I was like, yeah, we are due to like big pullback. But now it's like I don't know. Like we are like halfway down, maybe not halfway down, but my stocks are far beyond halfway down already, and I'm like still. I think it's still they have place to fall. Like, but before I didn't even expect it will go to the current levels, right?
I mean, no one
So
knows. Like, if
yeah.
there's like a collapse, everyone said, "Oh, I'm a genius. I was right. We had a collapse." And then
Hmm.
if we don't collapse, then the same people will say, "Oh, it was only like a probability game." So
Hmm.
whoops,
Yeah.
never mind. So no one actually knows for sure. I think
Hmm.
the banks, like I think, did you see like the Credit Suisse situation? I think that's kind of interesting. Let's see if they're going to go under. Um,
Hmm.
I think the
I
ideal
I
scenario is from an investment perspective, is you have capital on the side, right? Credit Suisse or someone else goes under, and we just basically get like a March 2020 scenario where the price goes
Hmm.
down like 60-70% in like 2 or 3 days. And it's just so obvious that's a good buying opportunity that you can buy
Hmm.
it. I think the worst scenario is like we keep bleeding down slowly, like towards like 10K or something for Bitcoin, and maybe like 50, 60, 70% less for altcoins. And you just have no way of knowing like if we're still going to have a massive collapse. I think that's the worst scenario. Best scenario is we have it, you get a good opportunity.
And in this slow bleed scenario, you really don't know when you should sell, right? You have bounce and you think like, oh, maybe it's okay, but then it starts bleeding even more for the next 3 months, which is like my case. I just keep holding, and like I see how it slowly bleed, because you just don't know. Like it makes you just so confused. But yeah, I saw this Credit Suisse news. Quite funny. We get the Credit Suisse, right? We got some news about the missile flying over in Japan,
Yeah.
and then we had the reaction of the stock market, like Nasdaq going up 4%. You know,
Yeah.
that's the funniest part of the markets, right? This is
Yeah.
like, this is the exciting thing. Like I love to see that stuff, because it's just like, I don't know, I'm getting like, you know, the markets, they're looking at the markets. I'm like, it's just fun for me, like watching TV series, right? By the way, I'm holding you so long, and I continue doing the same mistake. I never ask people how much time they have, and then I keep them for like ages on my channel. People were asking about Comdex, okay? So there was, Comdex were like having some people that Comdex were paying them for doing the tweets or talking. I actually don't think the Comdex is the only one partner maybe you had, right? Like it's
It's
so
the
I'm
only
not
one
sure
now.
what
Yeah, I don't
the
have
only
any
one
others
now.
now.
Oh
I
right,
mean, I tried
yeah,
working
like
with Asset Mantle, right, for a
mhm.
while. I can't say anything, but like basically it just didn't work out.
Yeah,
I think they
but
could have
it's the
done
same
better on their
company,
end.
right? It's
No,
the
no, they're different
oh
teams. They're all basically, like, long story short, right? Because everyone gets confused. There's like persistence, right?
mhm,
And persistence started with like the Asset Mantle team, the Convex team, and the persistence team all working in the same office, like together.
mhm,
And then Comdex broke off into their own team. Asset Mantle
right,
broke off into their team, and Persistence focused on liquid staking. So they're basically three
right,
separate entities now that just have a history with each other, and also, like, I guess, have like friendships. So they're quite
mhm,
closely like linked with one another in terms
right.
of potential partnerships and collaboration. But yeah, totally separate.
So like I wish I could ask you, but like I people ask him about Comdex. I'm like so what people what do you want
What
to
do they
know
want to know?
about the what do you
Yeah.
want to know, like because you maybe let's say how was it, because I don't know, like I actually never partnered with anyone, right? Like which for some is good, right? Like this was the content I was making. I'm also much smaller, so it's not that I get any offers. um and I must say I'm not a fan of Comdex, right? I wasn't a fan of Comdex, but because they didn't have any product or anything. But how did it work? How this, because Comdex was paying to people, or can I use word shilling, the bad word, okay? But like you can defend that or whatever. Like how this partnerships works? Can you explain that to?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person. I think it's different for
Mm-hmm,
like every individual like relationship between like a team and a
mm-hmm,
shiller, right? So like if you want to call me like a Comdex shiller, that's fine. The thing is, the way I got into all of this, so I can only speak about my personal
mm-hmm,
experience, is I did some like video competitions like before. I've done one on the Cosmos Hub. Obviously, I got some Atom for that. But I did like a persistence video competition
mm-hmm,
and I won. I think I won like, I don't know, like 100 XPRT. It was like $300 or $500 or something.
mm-hmm,
And then I joined like the Persistence Ambassador program, which is kind of like a community building program where you get rewards and XPRT for helping with the development on a social element, social side of things for persistence. I think most projects have ambassador programs, like
mm-hmm,
Ejective's got an ambassador program. I think like Stride was working on one. I think I saw like in their Discord they were working on that. So like I'd say like 80% of projects have an ambassador program, right? They reward community members who help spread the word. So that's
Mhm.
like how I joined Persistence. And I joined them because I already believed in what they were doing, which was DeFi and NFTs, right? That was the main like selling point. It was like what Condex and Asset Mantle are now doing separately.
Mhm.
Um, and then after the ambassador program, I started getting paid by Persistence monthly. And I said, hey, like
Mhm.
I'll do like a monthly payment with you, but I don't want to get paid for tweets or doing a specific
Mhm.
tweet. I don't want to get paid for doing a video. So like any project that's like, hey, can I pay you like $500 to make a video or a tweet? It's like, no, like that's actually how I view shilling. But I was
Mhm.
like, hey, with Persistence, like the channel needs support. I need an income and I'm covering you anyway. So let's just make this a partnership and we'll just communicate so we can better create the content that fits with what you're doing and what my audience wants. That then
Mhm.
transitioned to Condex as well when they kind of broke off fully. And it was the exact same deal. So it's like I'm already covering Comdex. I already believe in like TradFi solutions for commodity trade being a great kind of like use for blockchain, especially with like the tokenization of NFT invoices. Like I already knew all of this stuff. So I worked with them, right? And that's kind of like how I got on board with Comdex. I can't speak for anyone else that works with them because honestly, I don't really care. I don't care how they got onboarded with Comdex. Like what I care about is like I believe in the Comdex project
Mhm.
enough to work with them and get paid by them. Um,
Mhm.
and maybe it's not successful in the long run. That's fine as well. So hopefully that
Mhm.
clarifies some stuff. And I think the difference between shilling and collaborating with a project or being sponsored by a project is being paid to say something specifically which benefits the project and may not necessarily benefit your
Mhm.
community. And like what I mean
Mhm.
by that is, you know, let's say Comdex is like, oh, Liam, you know, we really want you to post like Comdex is going to like $20 one day per token.
Yeah.
And then I go and post that to my community. Like that's doing what something that Comdex wants that doesn't benefit my community. But if Comdex are like, hey, you know, we've got a test net live, and this is actually how like, I made my last video on the different test nets.
Mhm.
Is Comdex comes to me and says, hey, we really want a video, a tutorial on our test nets, right? And I say, hey guys, that's really cool, but like I only really do tutorials on live products.
Mhm.
But what I should do instead is like when you've got all of your test nets out, is just kind of go through them and explain like what the products are for when they go live. And they're like, great, that sounds awesome. And then I'll follow up and I'll say, hey, have you got your like all your test nets live yet? And they're like, no, we've got to wait like 4 weeks and then or 2 weeks and then we've got Komodo out. You know, we've got everything out.
Mhm.
And then once everything's out and they tell me, I'll be like, I'll have some questions and I'll ask the team what the answers to those questions are. And then when they get back to me with those answers, I'm like, great, thank you. Now I can actually make the best video possible for my community.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's very different from being approached by like another team, right? Let's just say Asset Mantle, for example. And this isn't what
Mhm.
happened with Asset Mantle, but
Mhm.
it's the first like project that came to mind. Let's say Asset Mantle like approach someone in the space. Let's say they approach Rama, right? Or they approach Udom and
Mhm.
they say, hey, like we really need to get more awareness of Asset Mantle. We really want to, onboard NFT creators and get people excited about the Asset Mantle chain. Can you make a video on how Asset Mantle is going to be one of the biggest NFT marketplaces in Cosmos? And you say, hey, like, no, I can't make a video specifically on that because we don't know if that's the case. And they're like, oh, we can pay you $2,000. And then you say, yeah, sure. Like that's like a completely different relationship, in my opinion, to like how I've managed at least my relationship with Comdex and
Mhm.
Persistence and even Asset Mantle when I briefly worked with
Yeah.
them. What are your thoughts?
Well, I didn't have partnership with them, but that's how I view you. Like because there was such a mix of people, and these individuals were so different, right? And you always have like mix of bad actors and the good actors in the pie, you know. But um, well, what I think what people don't see, like of course there is some like shillers, like let's do this word, but thinking of you or even like me, I think we are quite close to the communities that we support. Like when I see you, I know you are very close with persistence team, right? Well, you look at the like other big like YouTube influencers, and they would do every few days, here's the gems, here's the gems, without any relation. Like we are close to this ecosystem that we work with. So for example, now, like I even tweeted recently, and I wonder, like, what about you, right? Like I'm actively now like kind of looking for a job, right?
Mhm.
Because like if I can get closer to someone and be there, that will be that will be fine with me. As I said, I didn't have partnerships. I didn't have to have them. I also I don't think I was making content that would match anyone branding. Like that's obvious what I do, right? Like so that was different. But like just wanted to ask about you because many people keep asking, and I think you couldn't really explain that in any better way about the ambassador programs. That's actually like how it works with the people who are close to communities, right? If you cover the content, you are close to people, you try to educate them. And we get so heat up within the cosmos, which is quite crazy. But I know for the fact, once again, going to the wider ecosystem, right? You mentioned Elio. Elio actually wasn't it, because Elio had his own project, but I'm sure like other guy like Lark Davis, for example,
Yeah,
right? And Lark Davis looked very nice, but the thing with Lark Davis was like when in the bull market, I remember every few days he would be dropping 5 gems, no relation with the project. It would be just and it was shown he was actually dumping on his audience every single video. This is this is shilling, right? This is like just single video, pay me 50K and I will dump on you.
yeah,
I guess there is people who would disagree with this, but this is how it works. And when we see Cosmos, I feel like in the Cosmos you don't really have that like that bad of a space, um I think Comdex made mistake with what they did, engage in the certain like the even number of people, because I don't think it came at the benefit of them if that was like accounts with like fake followers, for example, right?
sure.
It's just waste of resources. Probably they would have like better outcome if they partner with like few people like you, right? And they are like
Yeah,
ambassadors working with them. So I think Comdex did mistake, obviously, but it's like not really related to the older entities. I saw in the comments, and I just want to say like I will ignore that because people were asking about what about like wash trading of Comdex, but like you are not Comdex, so like
I don't
like
have a comment.
what do you
Yeah,
guys mean?
exactly.
Like he's not Comdex.
I
So
think
like
they,
I'm
if
just
they did wash
right.
trade, they made a mistake, right? Like if they
Yeah.
were wash trading, they made a mistake and they should do it differently in the future.
Hmm.
And it's the same
Yeah.
with the shillers. Like if they've
Hmm.
like paid people who are like very shilly in their posts, then maybe they've made a mistake paying those people or collaborating with those people, and they should work with different types of people, like you say. Um,
Hmm.
I don't think it's enough to like judge a project's success on. Obviously, I think it's about like how much they value the community from
Hmm.
like a community element, and how good their products are, and then maybe how good their tokenomics are as well, if you care about that. That's how I judge Comdex. And until their product launches, their future's uncertain. It's the same with like every
Hmm.
single other project. It's like the same set of criteria. I
Hmm.
agree, Don, with what you're saying about Lark and Elio trades and all these YouTubers. And what people have to remember as well is like a lot of these people have businesses around their channel, right? They have teams,
Hmm.
they have researchers, they have business models, they have like paid like reports and stuff. Like, but I feel like we're in the same boat. You said we're like close to the communities, but it's not just like the Persistence team or the Juno team that we're like close to. It's
Hmm.
like we're close to like the people, like to cosmonauts,
Yeah.
right? We're like really like our content is really for the community, and like I really feel
Hmm.
that like myself personally, like I really do.
Hmm.
And I think like it's the same for you. And it's a real challenge to get paid by projects, even on like a
Hmm.
loose collaboration basis where you're not getting paid per like tweet or whatever,
Hmm.
because you always want to make sure like the content you're bringing out is value to your community, and it's all about being close with the community. I think too many people make videos that benefit projects and don't benefit community members. Like, I think it should be
Mm-hmm.
flipped. I think what should happen is projects should pay you, they should pay me, in like some like IBC funded fund. They should pay me, you, Cito, Yuri, crypto, DeFi, NFTs, like all of those like people doing content. And they should, hey, we're paying you to make content for our community, not for our personal goals as like a development team
Mm-hmm.
or as like a chain. We're paying all of you this money so you can get content to our community members, because
Mm-hmm.
you're helping our community with tutorials, you're helping our community with concepts. So I
Mm-hmm.
really think we need more of a push towards funding towards projects who want to educate their community, not sell their community a product, but actually just projects who want their community to get value from educators who cover the project.
Yeah, like you said, I recognize people in my comments, and you recognize people in your comments, and I recognize you on Twitter. Like it's like one big, like everyone knows each other, and this is cool. Like this is something I struggle, right? Because I do have certain videos, and sometimes I want to make tutorial, and it's like how to get the balance of making tutorials, showing how to do things, but also be myself within it, right? So there's the
Exactly.
balance. Like it's difficult, but like what is your plan now for now? Because it might be difficult, to you said you do it full time, like you are much bigger, so maybe there's like, and maybe you have the more assets now. Do you gonna do you, or maybe you looking for a job, you want to get more involved with some project? How do you view, what's the strategy you would do?
It's a tough one, right? A
Hmm.
job would be like ideal from a security perspective, like a stability perspective, right? But it's going to take away time from my content. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a trade-off. I think I'm pursuing what interests me, and in doing so, I can then create content that's valuable for my community.
Mm-hmm.
What I've been doing the last couple of days is like fleshing out like what I really need for my like content, right? Like I'm focused now on like tutorials and just kind of general breakdowns of tokenomics and new projects. And then alongside that, I also want to do kind of like updates for projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how Coin Bureau does it for like the broader space, but I want to kind of keep it focused in Cosmos because I can go a bit deeper. So like, for example, I realized like I haven't got an Osmosis tokenomics video yet. I haven't done a
Mm-hmm.
Juno tokenomics video because I missed their launches. So like, I really want to fill the gaps in my content with those types of videos. And obviously Atom 2.0, that as well. But I will be collaborating with more projects as well. I don't think I'll
Mm-hmm.
get a job like where I'm like working for a project for like 20, 30,
Mm-hmm.
40 hours a week. But I'm definitely going to collaborate, and I'm just going to make sure that these collaborations happen in a way where what I'm doing for that project is really about community building and providing value. So we'll see what happens. What about you?
This is a good thing, because I'm concerned about getting job that I will lose the content. I love making content, right? Like as you said, like I've been living off savings for 2 years. I still can go on for a little longer, but there is this few projects that I may be close with, and maybe if I get the offer and I can connect but be still independent person and do whatever, but they will see the value with me being part of the team, maybe that could work for me. So that would be ideal, but that's like such a, as you said, I don't know if it's possible to balance. If it's possible to balance, it's like, hey, we actually want you to be a part of more of the part of the team, but you're free to do content. And I do a lot of content, like
You're
so
killing it with the
like
content, man. You're doing so
like
much.
I was checking. I think I'm like I'm much smaller. Like I don't have the sway, but like I made like total more videos than you on Cryptocito because I
Yes,
just
yeah.
keep throwing it, but it's all flattened out. I was actually looking at your content. You did the territory airdrop. And I'm like, shit, because sometimes I claim airdrop, and it's like I should, and I forget to make content on the airdrop and show the claiming process, right? So this is like,
Exactly.
but
Just do it anyway. I mean, it's like
mhm,
it's so easy to do. If you're claiming the airdrop
yeah,
anyway, just make a video on it. And this is the thing, you're not like in direct competition with like me or someone else. Like
Mm-hmm.
people will watch your video and they'll watch my video as well. Like so like
Mm-hmm.
I always think we can all cover like the same stuff, and there's no like animosity or like competition, because people will just watch both videos most of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you should do
Yeah.
it. Go for it.
And the airdrops always are trending, right? Like when you do the airdrop video,
It's
it's
so
it's more
annoying.
trending.
It's great,
Like
but it's
yeah.
so annoying. It's like for me, like the airdrop like breakdowns and the airdrop tutorials, they just feel like almost dirty. Where it's like I'm not really working very hard to produce this content, but
Mm-hmm.
everyone loves it, which is amazing, and I'm glad I'm providing value. But yeah, Don's coming for Liam's
Yeah.
content.
No, I'm.
But yeah,
But yeah, there is the truth. Like sometimes I
yeah,
look at this and I'm like, that's the good video to trend, right? Like I made the video on like Atom 2.0, and there was hot discussion on the Twitter, and it's like, well, I know this video will do okay, right? Because this is like, or when there was liquid staking, like coming on Cosmos, I just videos on liquid staking. This is like
yeah,
sometimes you
that's
can,
really well.
what trends, and it's important to find it.
This is
Look,
like how I
Lee.
how I view content.
Hmm.
Like you've got like the
Hmm.
meta content, which is like the airdrop claims, the airdrop
Hmm.
breakdowns. Sorry to interrupt you, Don, as well. But like
Sure.
yeah, it's like the meta content, which is like the content where it like booms for like a week because it's the meta and then it dies off. And then you have like evergreen content, which is like tutorials that are like gonna stay around until they change like the
Hmm.
application interface, or like a tokenomics overview, which is kind of like not like a tokenomics tied in with the airdrop, but like an actual tokenomics breakdown for a
Hmm.
project where it's like, okay, even if someone wants to watch this in 6 months, it's still relevant. And like I want to kind of like, I feel like the meta content gets people in the door for the channel.
Hmm.
And it gives them like something to do right away, which is also good, but it gets people in the door. And then the evergreen content is like this kind of machine which keeps like
Hmm.
feeding and getting views and providing value in the long term. So
Hmm.
I'm shifting more
That's
towards
actually,
evergreen.
yeah, that's good points, because that's people like don't see. But like when I see sometimes your video, I was like, that's very good. That's like he knew what he's doing. Like it's nice to see. Um, I probably need to also do like more meta content. Like I actually like, that does your older videos get views, or it's mainly like published and go down? Because mine are like very published and go down. So
That's meta stuff, yeah. I mean, they all go
yeah.
down anyway, but like
Hmm.
you'll notice with like the evergreen content, the views still slightly increase. You know how it's like
Hmm.
really steep at first and then it fades off in terms of viewership? Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
normal even for like the evergreen stuff. But
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah. The reason I've got this like thought process right is I did like this Rarible tutorial ages ago
Hmm.
on like Rarible, which is like an NFT marketplace and creation
Yeah, on
tool on
Ethereum,
Ethereum.
right? So,
And like even when I first did the video, I only got like 2 or 3K views, but then Rarible blew up and like everyone just started watching it. And there was like a ton of problems as well, because people would comment like,
hmm.
the transaction fees are like $50 now, because when I did it, it was $2, which was kind of funny. So
Yeah.
there's loads of problems for people losing money and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you make evergreen content and something blows up, like it can really pick back up again in the
Hmm.
future as well.
Hmm.
So it's always something to consider.
Look, it was absolute pleasure talking to you. I will have to go because I hear the cat like really wanting some food. Also, I need to get some food. I didn't expect we will be for so long, and I feel like we could keep going.
Sure.
This was one of my most popular lives. Like so many people. So for everyone who was here, but like Liam, it's because of you. Like you are here and you give me the more the viewers. So kind of cool, and I hope we could do it again. Like we could maybe do even like like sometimes NFT forecast or product, or
Mhm.
more chain focused something, and just discuss together. Of course, if you would be apt for it. I think people enjoy it. So yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
definitely.
for coming. you know
No, honestly, thanks for having me, Don. I think you do some really awesome stuff. I think you're a bit controversial sometimes, but I think that's part of the appeal. And we do need voices like you in the space. So yeah, keep doing what you do, man. Happy to come on again. Obviously, can't do 2 hours every time, but yeah, we can
Yeah,
definitely
sorry.
do
Like
more.
we would do something more scheduled. I actually thought we will speak for 1 hour, and it's like, but we can do like half an hour like block, and focused on the alpha that people expect. So yeah, thanks a lot. Sorry for still nearly 2 hours of your time, and
No
enjoy
problem.
the rest of your day. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Take it easy.
Take care.
And thanks
Take
for
care.
watching,
Bye
guys.
bye.